Okay, let me know if you can hear me. We're going to get started in a minute. Let me know if you can hear the mic, please. Testing 1, 2. Okay. One minute. Be right with you. Okay, I just had to, my streaming laptop decided to freeze at the last second. Sorry about that. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. All right, everyone. Welcome to the Pro Trade Room Plus and the FOMC statement. My name is Lee Goldstein, Trading Director of 10-Minute Trades. Please remember all the trades we discuss for educational purposes. It is possible to lose money trading futures, so trade carefully. And let's get started for the FOMC statement. So, I'm a little bit confused, I have to say. In February, I would swear that this was a margin trade. In other words, all the brokers raised margins. I got an email last night that AMP had raised their margins starting with the overnight session. I mean, very early. And I called the Ninja Trader trade desk a little while ago, and they're raising margins for this event. And I guess the reason I'm acting like I'm confused is because we had the same account balance last month, very close, and traded full size NQ, but it doesn't seem like it should have been possible because the full size NQ, today's margin is, it's like $16,000 per contract. So we didn't have that much money in our account. It's 18,000, 36, and I definitely traded full size. So I'm just wondering why they allowed me to trade the NQ last month. I have to believe it was a margin event last month also. But they changed. Ninja Trader has changed their desk. Their whole website is different. They have a new version of the software, and they don't have the calendar anymore unless if you're using the newest version of the software, the calendar is in your desktop as part of the software. So they've just moved a lot of things around with the new version. It's kind of a pain because it just requires so much redoing. So many pages aren't where they're supposed to be. Anyway, I think what it means is this is a micro trading event because the NQ, you have to have like $40,000 minimum in your account to trade one NQ because again, it's about 17,000 per contract. And when you put our software on the chart, that's 2 contracts. So it's double. The margin is double. So for what it's worth, this is probably a very, very high risk event because there's so much uncertainty. There's so many problems. I mean, they certainly want you to think that it's a high risk event. I mean, I rarely have seen talking heads on, like CNBC say that they're not going to trade the whole day. That's pretty rare. So I think for real, this is a risky event. So trade it, understanding that there is tremendous risk. That's a given. So it looks to me like it's going to have to be traded for most people using NinjaTrader as their broker. It's got to be traded with micros unless you have 40,000, $37,000 in your account, then you can trade normal NQ. The ES is about 11, a little more than 11,000 per contract. Gold is 8,000 per contract. So in general, margins up on this event. And our setup is for an NQ setup. Let me show you. It's an 80 tick bracket, and it's got a 40 tick stop, targets of 40 and 80. I mean, it could be very big moves, and it could be a crazy whipsaw also. You never know. There's no way to know what's going to happen in an event that is this, what's the word? Volatile, potentially volatile. I do think that the market's like 80% certain that we're looking at a 25 basis point hike. So I think they said the odds were 86% that that's what's to be expected. So I think that's what's to be expected. That's probably what they're going to do. That's what everybody thinks. Everybody thinks. So I didn't have a video of November because November, I got hit by a car in November, and I guess we didn't have a trade room for November's event because I think it was the day after I got injured. So let me see if I do have a video. I thought I did. Yeah, here it is. So this is what November looked like with the NQ. I'm tempted to try trading the full-size NQ, and if they don't let me trade it, it would be because of margin. It's possible. But last month, what's got me extremely confused, last month we traded multiple contracts, and I'm telling you, I did call the trade desk to make sure what they were doing with margin. So it's a tough one. Last month we used a setup. I'll show you. So of course we showed a few previous setups. Last month we went for an 80 tick bracket with a 100 tick target. With a stop of 40. And if the market moved 80 ticks, we moved our stop to break even plus 50. Does anybody remember? Does anybody remember what they did? You write down what you traded? I mean, I know that we traded full size last month, but what I don't, not last month, whenever it was more than a month ago. What I don't think I noted was if it was a margin event, and that's the catch. That is the catch today, and I don't think I noted it in my journal either. So let me just triple check. It was February 1st. Fred, you traded an MES trap, okay? And that was February 2nd. Yes, I definitely traded full-size NQ with an 80 tick bracket. No question about it. No question about it. So I'm wondering, and I did call Ninja Trader's trade desk, and they said it's a margin event also. They said it was also a margin event. I think what I'm gonna do is trade one NQ, and if they don't let me trade because of margin, then they're not gonna let me trade it. I'm just wondering, I mean, I'm positive about how we traded last month, and it was a margin event last month. I'm positive. I'm positive. Does anyone else have keep a journal? What did you do last month? What did you do last month? Anyone else with a journal? I mean, I know what we did because I have the video. We've got the video. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give it a shot. And it's an activation at 13:59:59 with an 80 tick bracket. And I'm going to look for a 100 tick target. I mean, you might not get 100 ticks. It's a stop of 40. So I'm just trading one contract. And if the market moves 80 ticks, okay, right under stop loss, okay, under stop loss, under cancel, if the market moves X ticks, I'm going to say if the market moves 80 ticks, let me just think for a second. If the market moves 80 ticks, I'm going to move my stop to break even plus 50. In other words, if I get a move of 80 ticks with one contract and it doesn't go further than that or much further, then it'll move my stop. I don't know how everybody did all these traps. In all seriousness, how everybody did traps with a margin event. So and sometimes I think Ninja doesn't know what one hand is doing, and they say what the other hand is doing. They don't always know what they're doing. That is definite. So in this case, what will happen is if the market moves 80 ticks, the stop will move into a pretty big profit. So, everybody, you want to be careful. You definitely want to be careful. Now, on a trap, you're dealing with 4 times the margin, right? A trap is 4 times the margin. Why? Because you've got two orders above the current price. You have 2 orders below the current price, right? So you got to keep in mind that a trap requires much more margin. Now, Larry, you're not with Ninja either, right? And I know Fred, you're with AMP, and AMP is a quarter of the margin that Ninja does. So it's understandable how someone might be able to do a trap if they're not a Ninja Trader customer. Okay. So if that makes sense, that makes sense. So I could be stopped from trading. If I was going to trade MNQ, I would use the same setup, a bracket of 80, targets of 100. I might go with a little bit bigger stop. I might go with a 50 or a 50, 60 stop. And I would trade at least two MNQs, and I would go for 40 on my first target and 80 to 100 on my second if I was going to use MNQ. So I'm going to try one contract NQ. It may not, they may not let me trade it. That may happen. It's possible. It's possible. Um, Now, we did not give a trap setup for this. We've never found a trap trade for this. So, Larry, I'm assuming you made your own trap trade, unless I'm completely losing my mind when it comes to this event. Which, you know what, anything is possible. So for the NQ MNQ, activate 1359.59, bracket of 80, one contract, target of 100, stop of 40. If the market moves, whoops, 80 ticks, market moves 80 ticks, then you can do move your stop to break even plus 50. Okay. 25, 34, and 20. I'm a little bit concerned over a possible big move with a trap. That's the worry. The other side of the coin is, how many times we wait and wait for a big event, and so many times the event is much smaller than we ever think it's going to be, right? And this event could certainly be less than what we expect. It's possible. It's possible. So I'm going to just look for something real quick. Let me just look for something. So the last FOMC was February 1st, right? Fred, what do you have as the VAT? What were the numbers? What were the numbers on the trap? Larry, that's what you had 25, 34, and 20 on the ES? Okay, because we did not test it. Chantal and I did not test it because we traded the NQ. We've been trading the NQ mostly on it. It's 8 times a year, so it's not quite monthly. It's 8 times a year. I'm going to check my bracket size. I'm going to put my charts on Sim. And I'm going to set my time to 0. So it would not surprise me if this is one of those events that it's just much calmer than what we expect. I think it's possible that it could be calmer than what we expect. Um, Second, I think you're the only one there. We are streaming on YouTube, but a lot of people come into the trade room. Okay, so that's my bracket size. That's 80 ticks. And then I'm going to put my time back to 13:59:59, 24-hour time, 13:59:59, 80 bracket, 100 tick target. Fred, I think if it's a 25, it'll be pretty calm also, or it'll be pretty normal. It'll be pretty normal, which is potentially, it could be a couple of hundred ticks if it's normal. I cannot believe that they'll do zero, because if they do zero, it tells the world that they have screwed everything up. Don't you think? If they do zero, it's sort of them admitting that they have just dropped the ball on everything. That's what I think. That's what I think anyway. Let's check our time sync. Okay. Let's check our time sync. All right. So I do want to thank everybody for watching us on YouTube. If you hit the like button, that would be real nice. And if you hit the notification button, you'll know next time we're going to be here. I'm also watching gold on the right side. And I'm listening to Financial Juice Pro in the background, okay, to hear what the word is on the interest rate. They'll announce it. It usually, the rate will come across on the website investing.com right away. So we should know immediately what the deal is. Checking time sync by going to the website. Time is. I just want to check my bracket once more. My charts just look so tight. All right. It's pretty normal. Now, there's also, the possibility on a report like this, there could be an early move. Just be prepared for things to be out of the ordinary. And, if things are out of the ordinary, don't be ashamed. If you want to cancel a trade, you can. Just know how to do it. You just uncheck the box, right? Just uncheck the box. All right. So 13:59:59 is our trigger time. And I am thinking it's going to be 25 basis points. I think that's what everyone expects. That's what everyone expects. At least 86% of everyone. But a lot of what's going on, um, will also depend on things that they say at their news conference. The news conference is probably going to be important today also. So we're just waiting, watching and waiting. Gold on the right. So they'd be going to, I guess, 5% on the rates. I'll tell you, Powell's been getting roasted by everyone everywhere, don't you think? Powell's been taking a beating, just a beating. Everybody's been killing him. So it's been a very stressful. This is a very stressful trade. Not so much a stressful trade, it's a stressful event. Everybody's so worried about it, you know? Tomorrow we have the Bank of England. We have a setup for that. All right. So I am understanding that I may not have a trade because of margin, depending on the broker's margin levels today. So we got about 2.5 minutes. We're in sync. And it's hard to believe all the raising and the interest rate, it's only 5%. People are so bent out of shape. 5%. It's not the end of the world. It's just that banks have managed their interest rate products very, very poorly, apparently. That's the big problem, is that the banks have not managed their portfolios properly. And that's causing lots of problems. It's not like the interest rates are so high that the world is ending. They're not. Interest rates, these are still below what many people would consider normal interest rates. What do you think of that? Fear it. I thought you typed something else. You think it'll be very bullish if it's zero. Okay. Hmm. I don't think there's any chance it's going to be zero. That would be that'll shock the market if it's zero. And I don't think the Fed's in the business of shocking markets. I just don't. So we have a pretty big bracket. 15 seconds. Okay, there's the bracket. Gold moved early. Gold seemed to move a little bit early, and it's 25, 25. So this is a non-event. It's a non-event, which I was concerned about. I don't know that I want to be in this event, but I'm going to let it play out. Okay, so we made our 100 ticks, made our 100 ticks. You know, it was a non-event with a slow move. Gold looked amazing. Wow. Gold looked amazing, but it moved early. It moved early. So I really didn't want to be in it because I thought it was too slow. But, you know, you got to play it out. One little measly contract. What's the worst? We could have lost 200 bucks unless it was like an insane event. So nothing wrong with making $500 on a one contract trade. I'm glad now people could trade. There's so many opportunities to trade discretionary now. Let's watch the market for a couple of minutes. Then you can type in what you did. You know, I hope you did what I did. I'm going to turn off my breakout trade. A quick, easy 500 on that. And it looks like it went like another 75 ticks more than what we got. We should have used a 150 tick target. I'm just watching the price action for a couple of minutes. For discretionary traders, these are fun times to trade. Risky but fun. Risky but fun. So type in what you did. Type in what you did if you traded. The ES also had a big move up and it's reversing now. So type in what you did. Not big. And that's exactly what I was worried about, Fred. I'm sorry we didn't test it. We didn't test it. Now, Frank, I was going to trade ZN and it didn't move on most of the previous reports. Look at this reversal. Look at this reversal. Fred, that's what I was really, really worried about, Fred. Calvin, you forgot to hit enabled on your NQ. Calvin, the one day I agree with you about NQ. Fred, I really feel partly responsible, Fred. I would have upped because we didn't test it. I didn't know if I wanted to up the brackets, the tiers. I probably would have done what you did, Fred. I probably would have done what you did. In all honesty, I would have traded the same setup because it worked last month. I would have been nervous about it, though. I would have been nervous about it. But we had such good luck with the NQ. I had to stay with the NQ because it's just testing really well and working live. It's working live. Um, Let me see who else traded. John, you tried ES on a sim, on a breakout. Yeah, I think ES breakout is very viable on this report now. But I'm extremely confused about Ninja and what they're doing with their margins because we should not have been allowed to trade. And my feeling is they don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing. And that's the truth. They don't know what they're doing. The trade desk says they're raising margins, but I don't know that they're equipped uh, to deal with it. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe they don't have the tools in place to control everybody's accounts. I really don't know what the answer is. I don't know what the answer is. ZN, I wanted to do a trap trade on ZN, and the testing was awful. It was just terrible. And it might have worked today. It might have worked today. ZN makes me nervous because of wicks like that. Low volume wicks on half the candle definitely worry me. So look, I did not really have a trap set up for this month. Everybody, I did not have a trap set up this month. It's like I said, we didn't test it. We didn't test it. The NQ's been working, so that's why that I stayed with the NQ. So I'm assuming the trap just blew through, Larry, right? It just blew through the stops. It wasn't big enough. It wasn't big enough. And that's so frustrating. It's so frustrating because the price, it did reverse eventually. I mean, it reversed big time, but that's the problem. The tiers have to be huge. And that's why we kind of stopped testing it, because the moves are too big. You just can't trust it. It can't be trusted. Look at the market. The market's loving this. The market's loving this. So, if you want to use our software, I'm going to throw my software in Sim. Did anybody else trade, or that's about it? That's about it. Chantal, are you here? So I want to thank everybody on YouTube. Nobody gave us a like on YouTube. Give us a like. We made $500 and showed a live trade on the FOMC. I want to thank you for coming to our stream of the week. And I'll see everybody on YouTube next week. Thank you for watching.